Nikanabi kandish nakas. Makwal tutin. Asabi kane zagayi ganing zag indunjaba. Uh, my English name is Mildred Holmes. Uh, yes, I know, too many ahs. Well, I'm running for tribal chairperson at for Bois Reservation, and I live in Net Lake. Um, I have been asked about a platform, what kind of platform I'm gonna have, and what I'm gonna be running. Well, I do have a Facebook page, which this is gonna go on, um, but I'm not gonna be having a platform per se, because it's all pretty much all the same regardless, whatever time of the year, time of the decade you run. But the other day, President Zelensky of Ukraine, came to the White House to meet with President Trump and Vice President Vance, and oh man, I watched the video on posted on C-SPAN. That whole video, not just the 2 minutes that most people I've that have seen it, and that was the one that caused me to go look for the whole video. And I'm glad my parents aren't here to see this, especially my father, who fought in World War II against tyranny and bullies. That sort of ganging up on one person is an event I've watched, been in, or victim of in one form or another all my life. I've been saying that we're headed for a civil war, and I've posted comments over to YouTube regarding the reservation land of all tribes being fair game, because there's gold in them Dar Hills, which is the mindset of the larger society here in the United States. In 2016, when everyone was heading out to support water protectors with money, food, supplies, and support, I elected to stay home. The reason? Well, with everybody heading out to other places, who's left at home to defend the home country? With everyone's attention elsewhere, that's the best time to sneak in. What's that called? Bait and switch? No, I can't think of redirect, whatever that tactic's called. At any rate, these experiences have shaped my beliefs and values, and I've learned over the years that I won't stand by or take part in the bullying that happens in front of me. I'll do my best to stand up for and defend someone who's being picked on. I'll offer encouragement to those who are tired of fighting continual abuse, whether verbal, physical, mental, or emotional, in whatever form the perpetrator commits it. At one time, my personal experience with this was when, in the 90s, late 90s, there was issues going on here, and I was on the election board then, and there was a protest filed and all this and that, and well, those events kind of really solidified the fact that I will stop bullying in whatever way, shape, or form, in particular for elders and vulnerable people of our tribes, our band. And I've wondered about gaslighting and what it is. I've beginning to realize now that, yeah, I've been gaslighted by others. I've struggled through a fog of thoughts, emotions, and depression whilst picking myself up after attacks where I've allowed myself to be knocked down. Mind you, it's been temporary mostly. A few times there's been where I've needed a great deal of support to pick myself up. As I told my mom and dad on the day I was released from the burn unit, I know who I am, and I'll try to stay away from those who don't accept me for my appearance. Well, not precisely those exact words, as they've been reworded all my life. So yeah, I've been down but not out. The same goes for my band, my clan, and my family. We've suffered heinous crimes, and we're still here. Some of us have managed to walk two paths despite being told we had to choose one or the other. And we can empathize with Zelensky and the Ukraine people. And when the Latinos were being targeted, many black people were saying FAFO, and they'd not help until ICE was at their door, and they'd react then. It's this attitude that's hurting us. When the Canadian tariffs were first announced by Trump, many Canadian premiers were interviewed regarding their plans for response, and Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew answered by saying that he has relatives and friends, as well as a shared history of fighting in war together across the border. And yeah, our tribe, most of our tribe is located in Canada. And the trade war that has been started is currently has implications of making the EV industry more expensive. With Canada's emphasis on Tesla, their lithium, nickel, and cobalt tariffs means nickel will be more expensive. Well, the others too, but and this is going to make polymet mine's value even more important. All the environmental regulations are off, and that bill is now in the House of Representatives. Yeah, it means more jobs for the area, but Trump and Musk have been so aggressive in the trade wars because they're hoping to use the valuable resources we have here in Minnesota. Well, on other reservations too. What do you want to bet that they've been busily setting these things up all this time? That big mine equipment plant in Virginia? Or what do you bet those machines were being set up for polymet? They won't need pipelines from Canada anymore if the electric cars take off. Well, they can figure out how to work with lithium. Well, anyway, they're hoping to have a self-sustaining business here, right here on the Iron Range. Well, a lot of implications on that. And they're already setting the stage for abrogation of treaties, in particular with the tribes here in the States. NATO, NOAA, and other organizations were established by treaty. The president is just withdrawing, breaking promises as usual. Tribes here in the USA have long experience with such treatment. Why, you are probably thinking, are you talking about these things? Well, these issues are affecting us right now. We have to have a cohesive, sustained effort to withstand this uncertainty, this storm of unleashed fury on our emotions, our livelihoods, and our culture. Number one is the very subject of our citizenship in the United States of America. An aside here, I used the United States of America in a post on Facebook and it autocorrected to United States. Well, that's not the correct legal name of our country. Though it is heartening to see that some of our habits have been adapted by the larger society, even to AI's autocorrecting to using nicknames. Well, anyway, my opinion. It has been argued that in 1965 that our allegiance is first and foremost to our tribes, which to me it is. My first allegiance is to my tribe. I think I posted on a post once before on my blog post about my circles, how those expand out. First is my family, then my friends, then acquaintances, my clan, my tribe, and then the United States. So sometime I might go further into that, but that allegiance to our tribe is the reason that they're saying we shouldn't be allowed citizenship despite being born here in the land of the Americas. This is the reason that the words under the jurisdiction of the United States was used as the basis for denial of United States citizenship, as tribal members are born under the jurisdiction of tribes. The Indian Citizenship Act was enacted on June 2nd, 1924, giving us citizenship, provided that the granting of such citizenship shall not in any manner impair or otherwise affect the right of any Indian to tribal or other property. Oh, there was another thought I had, but well, sometime, someday, someone it'll pop up again. So anyway, in my opinion, Indians have been members of two nations. We have dual citizenship, in my opinion. Under various acts passed since then, tribes, in particular ours, have been fighting to keep our land, our rights, and our future secure, in spite of poor translations of English. In some cases, these translations were made by people who didn't understand English very well themselves. Many of dominant society's concepts were and still are untranslatable. For this reason, my grandparents, parents, aunts, and uncles strongly encouraged us to get an education. Most really wanted one of us to become a lawyer for specific reasons which they never explained. I knew about the tribal reason for wanting doctors and lawyers, and I always thought it was for the greater good of the tribe, which of course it was. My parents, my mother in particular, being born a Wakemup, that is the reason they wanted a lawyer. Or the reason why is I didn't discover until I started genealogy that I figured out that reason. Wakemup Bay. That incident caused so much heartache that 3 generations were affected deeply. Our family has strong values regarding land management, and education. All during my lifetime, it's been a constant battle with one thing or another obstructing tribal prosperity, not the least of which is defining what prosperity means to us as a tribe. Even within the tribe, there is contention, and foremost is consensus. We'll never have it if we rely on the definition as being 100% agreement with plans and outcomes. Some of our tribal ways can and must be adapted to fit the world we find ourselves in. Now, I don't mean abandon all the old ways. We must adapt, as we did when moving according to the Migazi shell and the vision for us in the past. We must become adept at explaining our concepts and living up to the standards and expectations our ancestors had for us. These are some of my beliefs and values that will guide me in leading our band to a prosperity we will and have defined for ourselves. I will carry these with me as I venture into the future, whether I am elected by you to the position of tribal chairperson or not. The lessons I've learned have been passed down to my sons, my nieces, my nephews, and others who cared enough to ask. So, with that, I will say Gigawabamin, Chimigwits for listening.